With so many stories trending in the news this week, we decided to call in the Style Squad to give us their take on some of the hot topics. Today on the squad, we have attorney and radio host Lisa Wexler, marketing and entertainment expert Jim Bozzi, and life coach Lisa and Kanoki. Everyone, welcome to the Style Squad. It's nice to have you here.
Thank you.
All right, so first we are going to talk about the Carnival Cruise Line Nightmare. Thousands of passengers were on the cruise ship. It ended finally, and to compensate those on board, passengers were offered a full refund for the cruise and travel expenses. Yeah, right. Credit towards a future cruise plus a check for $500. Lisa, why don't you start us off? Is that enough?
No.
Okay. What should they have done?
Well, first of all, they should have rescued them on the sea.
Right.
Okay. There's no way they should have left them asking for diapers and formula, eating ketchup packets, and simmering in their own feces for so long. It was disgusting. It was despicable. It was a classic FU to their own customers. You have to understand that Carnival is managed by the same people that managed the Concordia line that was the disaster that killed those people in Italy. They also own the Princess line. They own Cunard. They own Holland America. I would never go on any of their cruises. I think the management is utterly to blame. It should be a minimum of $10,000 a passenger as a offer of settlement.
To compensate. All right, Jim,
minimum.
Now let me ask you, do you think, go ahead.
Well, Lisa, don't block. But I agree with you, because I mean, this is 3,141 passengers, not counting the crew.
Exactly.
I mean, this is a floating Petri dish, as we've all heard. I mean, this is not supposed to happen. I understand things go wrong, but like Lisa said, why didn't they go out to sea? They're in the Gulf of Mexico. They're not in the middle of the Pacific.
Absolutely.
This wasn't that far
After the
offshore.
Titanic, they were rescued, what, in a day or two?
In a day,
Exactly.
in
Exactly.
1912.
Lisa, let me ask you, do you think, though, going on to a cruise ship, you kind of are putting yourself at risk going into the middle of the ocean?
Well, I guess we look at it two different ways. First of all, thank God everybody came out safe for the most part. But on the other half, don't we learn anything from history? The Titanic was sinking. So what happens? I mean, does it take everybody's brain 3 to 4 days to function? What city? They're going to Mexico. No passports. Oh, Alabama. I mean, come on. This is ridiculous. Get these people off the boat. Get them out of harm's way.
They made a financial decision.
Exactly.
That they didn't want to spend the money to get a flotilla of smaller
boats. And instead, it made the bad publicity for them. It's going to be endless forever. And lawsuits.
Nightmare.
I mean, they could have just made everybody happy and say, you know what? We will get you on somebody's yacht, boat, whatever we have to do.
There, right?
We will get you off there.
I call it Carnival.
That's very clever, Jim. What about the lawsuits? What's going to happen next?
Well, what's going to happen is that there'll be a tussle because their contract protects them. Their flag is not American. None of the cruise ships fly under an American flag. Their jurisdiction is in Miami, which will be difficult for people around the country and around the world to sue. And frankly, there will still be people pushing back, negligence lawyers. There are plenty, by the dozens in Florida, who will try and get more. The likelihood is they won't have to pony up that much money per passenger because there wasn't damage, there wasn't loss of life, but it was the kind of an inconvenience and PR nightmare that they will lose far more money from the bad PR than they would have been had they done the right thing.
Right.
I think it's refreshing. At least everybody said that the people that worked on the ship were wonderful, and I think if we can end on that's something positive. At least the people that work there, maybe they'll get other jobs.
I'm sure
you never know. All right, let's move on to the Mindy McCready, her suicide earlier this week. A very sad story in the country music world. She took her own life just days after being released from a court-ordered drug rehab. Jim, let me start with you. Was she released too soon, do you think?
I think so. I mean, listen, this woman obviously had major issues, and you know we were talking about it earlier. The whole show, the Dr. Pinsky's
the celebrity rehab.
Right. You know, out of 43 people now, we're up to 5 people. That's like almost 10%. That's not, you know.
Is the show exploiting? Do you think?
I think it's a Victorian freak show. I got to tell you, I just think to watch these programs where people are just imploding before your eyes. I mean, why do we, you know, as this is just a larger question, why as humans are we drawn to these train
Well,
wrecks?
I think we also don't have a real inside look or empathy for the fact that people that have addictions are going through a myriad of issues that can impact not only them, but the other people in their lives. And I think with this young lady, she obviously was a country lyric. You know, she was a lyric herself in terms of how she carried out her life. Her storyline was very much drama. She was very forthcoming, which was good, but obviously confused after the death of her significant other a couple of weeks ago.
So let's talk about that. So she leaves a 10-month-old, 8-month-old baby behind,
an orphan,
right, as a complete orphan. He kills himself. She's killed herself. What kind of expectation for a life does this poor baby have? I mean,
well, 2 kids. They're 2 kids. I mean, she lost her first child and just got that child back.
And the
from
poor
a
dog.
terrible custody thing. So, I mean, I think, again, though, it speaks to mental illness. I think we cannot judge the fact that there was some deep-seated issues. She had a very troubled life. And, again, people pass judgment in terms of how she should have handled it. Maybe the pain was just unbearable. I mean, and again, the drama
Then
of
don't
going
have
out.
children, Lisa.
Yeah, well,
don't bring somebody else in the world if you know you have a history of mental illness. No, I'm sorry. Don't do that.
well, I think,
There is
again,
something called birth control in this world, and don't bring children in the world if you are not equipped and competent mentally to try and raise them. I'm feeling for these children who are motherless and fatherless.
Oh, sure.
And it's terrible.
but
Absolutely.
I don't think people consciously say, oh, I have mental illness, I'm going to
No, but they had
kid.
a reality check. She knew that she was sick all these years. In fact, as you just said, she spoke about her story.
She did.
I just feel terrible for the
Well,
children.
I feel bad. I feel bad for the entire family,
Well, of
her
course.
history as well as the
But as
children,
far as-
obviously.
But I also question these TV shows. I really do.
I wanna
Or maybe
talk
we
about that
shouldn't
a
be
little bit.
watching this all unfold.
Well, but also you have to understand that anybody who chooses to be on that show with the third eye of a camera has a narcissistic element of them. They can't be totally focusing on their own recovery. If you're focusing on your own recovery, you're not worrying about a camera in
Right.
back of you.
No, that makes
so I
sense.
think from the patient's point of view, it becomes self-defeating.
But I think some of those people also talked about having no income and wanting to do the show because of needing income, just because of maybe they were down on their luck, had really tried to rebuild their life. So I think there's all types of things we can argue back and forth all day, but at the end of the day, it sells, and that's why they're there.
Well, and I don't think
sure.
the show made her sicker.
No.
I'm not sure it helped her at all.
Right. All right, let's move on. An Idaho man is facing federal charges for slapping someone else's toddler
What a
and uttering
story.
a racial slur while on a Delta flight. Lisa, start us off with this.
He was drunk, all right. He knew the coloration of the child he was slapping. Okay, come on. This guy had truth serum in him, okay? Drunk or not. You know, it's interesting to me that he could still fathom to even come out with a racial epithet
You
to
know,
a
it was
child.
a white
I mean,
couple that had adopted this
well,
black little baby.
That's what I was going to say. The
and he
fact
was
is,
nasty.
well, you know what? The reality check here is that child, unfortunately, is going to be subjected to a lot more of that for a variety of reasons. It doesn't have to be, you know, right out in the face. We just happen to see it in the face. Young kids that are of color or multiracial experience these types of things every day, subliminally, you know, directly or indirectly. I mean, I just had this conversation with my stepdaughter, Brittany Toscano, who lives as a dark Italian, but is really African American, and doesn't really, the whole society doesn't necessarily embrace and accept if you are adopting a child of color because
My
of the
best
fact.
friend adopted two.
No,
And
but
she
I'm
used
just
to go
saying
around
people
and-
do it every day.
Just
But
saying,
again, it
yes.
comes with a whole bunch of other
It does, a
connotations
whole
that
bunch
people
of other
really don't
issues.
But didn't the
accept.
flight attendant notice this man was getting?
Yeah, why
drunk
wasn't
and
the
they
guy
kept-
unclear.
arrested?
and
I
they
mean,
kept
come on.
serving?
It's unclear.
There's a responsibility. Is it unclear? There's a
From what I
responsibility to
read,
the
it was
flight
unclear.
attendant. You're giving this guy, you know, those little.
Sure.
vodka
No, it was
shots.
unclear what the flight attendant
Well,
did.
he was slapping a kid. Forget about the color.
Not
He
bad.
should have been arrested. The kid, the parents are lucky that
right.
they didn't go and kill this guy
All right.
for slapping their kid.
That's true.
That
Lisa,
was
we have
outrageous.
to end on that note. I want to thank you all for being here. It was a
Sure.
very active
Thank you.
style spot, as always. Stay with us. Up next, Chef Van Herd puts a fancy twist on Eggs Benedict when style returns. Don't go anywhere. Nicely done, guys.